Hey Broncos country, joined now by head coach Vic Fangio. Coach, like you know, right now we're all dealing with this global health crisis. Is there anything that you want to tell our community during this difficult time?
Well, first I'd like to thank all the medical people that are working through this, the doctors, the nurses, all the people that work in the hospitals and in the doctor's office all around the city. They're doing a great job. Also, all the people that, support the food industry, whether it be working at a grocery store, supplying the food to the grocery stores, and the people supplying takeouts out of their restaurants. All of that is important to help us get through this.
Well, first wave of free agency is behind us. How did you, John Elway, and Matt Russell work together during this time, given the unique circumstances?
Well, there was a lot of prep work that went into it. We had all the coaches' input, the pro scouts' input, John's input, Matt's and myself's, and we came up with, some guys that we targeted and that we would like to get, and with the help of Rich Hurtado, doing the contract end of it, we were able to come up with, some guys that I think will really help us moving forward.
Well, speaking of your assistant coaches, they haven't been in all week. So how did you communicate with them, and how important was that for you to communicate with them throughout this process of free agency?
Well, we've been able to communicate through phone calls, through text. We have had all their write-ups. We did do a meeting on that before they left. So, we were prepared, not knowing that all this was going to happen, but we were prepared for free agency. The only difference was that everybody wasn't in the building while it was going on.
Do you think having your coaches stay back during that week of the Combine helped get you guys prepared for an unforeseen situation like this?
I do. I think, all the coaches' work is done for the Combine. They had that extra week to watch the tape along with other weeks. So before the coaches left, all of their evaluations and rankings and comments were all put in, and we all have them, and we access them and refer to them every day.
Well, speaking of free agency, obviously a ton of big signings, one being Melvin Gordon, 2-year deal for him. How do you see him splitting time with Phillip Lindsay?
Well, exactly how that will look remains to be seen. But, it's pretty common right now in the NFL that most teams have two backs that do the bulk of the ball carrying or playing the running back position, divvying up the third down responsibility. So I don't see it as a problem getting enough work for both of them. We're happy to have them both.
What excites you about Melvin Gordon?
I just think he's a quality running back, both when he's toting the rock and also when he's running pass routes. I think he can pass protect. I think he's a very versatile running back in that he can do all the jobs a running back has to be asked to be done. And I'm excited to have him.
Well, we saw some turnover on the offensive line as expected. You got one of the best at his position in Graham Glasgow. But speaking of position, what is his position? Do you see him more as a center or a guard?
Right now, I think we're thinking guard, but he can play center just as well, and that's always good to have. The more versatility you have, it's been commonplace now for many years for the offensive line to dress 7 players per game, and the more versatility you have amongst those 7 guys, the better off you are. And we're confident that no matter how it shakes out, he can play center or guard equally well.
Well, John Elway, he brought in 5-time Pro Bowler Jerel Casey. I think the thing that's the most interesting about him is towards the end of last season, he started practicing with the outside linebackers. So how do you see Casey working in conjunction with Bradley Chubb and Von Miller?
Well, he's an interior player for us, and he was for them. They played some packages late in the year where they had him outside. But he's an interior defensive lineman that will hopefully be providing good inside pass rush, good strong play against the run. With our guys on the edge, that's real imperative.
Well, the NFL, we know the memo that they sent out. Everybody needs to work from home now until April 12th, which means when you guys return, if all goes well, and we can return that day, you're 2 weeks away from the draft. So how do you see the next 2 weeks playing out from home, and what are maybe some of the challenges that you're going to face?
I'm not sure yet. We had been planning up until today that we would be able to do it from the office. Right now, that's not the case. So we're going to have to figure out the logistics of it moving forward if we do still hold the draft on the scheduled date, and see what the parameters are about, how we can congregate or not congregate. And I think it's, all that hadn't been determined yet. But I don't see it as a big issue other than I do think your decision makers have to be in one place.
Right. Last but certainly not least, the question everybody wants answered. What is your meatball recipe?
That's a long-standing secret, and only a select few get it.
What kind of went into the process of creating that video? Why was it important for you to put it out there?
Well, I first made it just to send my 3 brothers and sisters, just to let them know what I was doing and make them jealous. But then Patrick Smythe saw it and begged for it to put it on the Broncos Instagram, and that was that.
How does it feel to have gone viral?
I haven't seen, I don't have Instagram on my phone, but Patrick said it's, and I've had a lot of people text me on it, so it's been fun.